Tier list. These are some books that I read in high school. They were not all required. Some of them were from a list where I got to choose which one I wanted to read from that list, but these are all books that in some way or another I was required to read. So we're going to go ahead and start with the classic Lord of the Flies. Um, my goodness, someone told me before I got into high school, someone told me all the negative stuff about this, and they hated this book, and so I was prepared to hate the book and be freaked out about it, but I thought it was quite interesting. I don't know if I love the book, but it definitely made me think, and I appreciate that. I feel like whenever you're reading for a class or through a specific lens, it does generally make you think. So we might have a lot in Made You Think. Crime and Punishment. My goodness, my little cohort of seniors, we all thought we were just the coolest kids. For a while, I guess you could say it was part of my personality in high school because we were just talking about it constantly. And even though it was this massive, like 600-page book, one of the biggest books I had ever read to that point, and I just thought it was so cool and so smart. Um, hmm, Shaped my childhood maybe because it shaped my childhood for a season, for my a season of my high school career. That was all we could talk about. Elemental P. Oh gosh. I I really, I loved this book. This was so fascinating to me. I have read it a couple times since high school because I just really appreciated what it did, the way it works with letters, like both letters to different people and actual letters of the alphabet. It was so clever and well written. Really, really enjoyed that. All right, Candide. Um, I I was very proud of myself because I thought this was so witty and clever. I loved Voltaire, and I wrote one of my favorite essays in high school about this book. So it definitely made me think. I do love it. Maybe a little part of my personality definitely shaped me. You know what? I'm gonna put it in shaped me instead, because I still think of it every now and then. Oh, and there's an opera with, I believe, Kristen Chenoweth. Quite good, I thought. All right, this one, I guess this one wasn't technically required. I think I read it because we were studying philosophers and I wanted to study Sartre. And this book, trigger warning, I I think this launched me into depression. Like it's not a laughing matter, but like it's seriously, it's such an existential book. It definitely made me think. I guess you could say it shaped me, but definitely not in the most positive way. Not that it was like inherently bad, but it was just very depressing. The definition of ennui. All right, let's go to another philosophical book, Sophie's World. It definitely made me think because it's a philosophy book, philosophical book. I've shared it with my husband, my child. I really enjoyed this book, so I could put it in love. I do think Sophie herself is kind of a punk, though, so I like the philosophy in it. I like the ideas of it. I like a lot about it. I'm gonna say it shaped me because I actually studied philosophy in high school a lot because of the teacher that had us read these books. So yeah, definitely shaped me. We're gonna go to Slaughterhouse Five. Oh boy, this was one of those books that it was on a list of maybe 2 dozen options, and I remembered my mom had mentioned something about Kurt Vonnegut in this book, and so I asked my mom permission because, this was one of the very mature books. So keep that in mind. It has language, it has lots of inappropriate things, some violence, definitely explicit content. So I asked my mom, and she said it was okay for me to read. The funny thing is, years later, I mentioned it, and she's like, "What? I gave you permission to read that in high school?" So don't go thinking my mom is not being appropriate. She didn't intend to give me. I don't know. I must have caught her at a weird time when I asked her. I in some ways liked this. I don't know. I thought this was very meaningful. In some ways, it shaped the way I thought about things. Definitely made me think. I'm gonna leave it here in made me think because I do feel like in some ways it was a like a part of me. It was kind of a favorite book for a long time. Not in like that I loved everything about the book, but it was very formative. But I'm gonna leave it in made me think. I just think it has such interesting ways to view time and everything. I don't know, it's a weird book. Very mature content, so trigger warning there. Let's see. And then the last one we're going to end with for high school books I read, Merchant of Venice. This one, I really loved this one. I'm going to go ahead and put it here. It's probably my second favorite Shakespeare book. I did get to see the play live once. Um, I love the characters. I love, oh gosh, what's her name? Starts with a P. The girl, she's really cool. The whole thing with how she had to choose a suitor based on a gold box, a silver box, or a bronze box, I believe. Very interesting. Um, I love the servant character. I love the dynamic of the evil Jew and the daughter who's ashamed of her father, but also ashamed of being ashamed of her own father. There were so many things to this book. I also remember we read this as a freshman in class, and this was kind of my introduction to Shakespeare, like specifically his like reading Shakespeare. This was one of the first ones I ever read, and his double entendres, his innuendos. So they were reading, popcorn reading, call on so and so, and they read out loud, and someone was reading, and I was half paying attention, and then all of a sudden there was a comment about my pen or my sword, and I just remember my head just sat up. I lifted my head. I was like, wait a minute, did he just say what I think he said? And then the teacher paused and explained the innuendo, and I was like, oh, okay, so he did say what I thought he said. So I just thought that was really funny and just witty, clever, funny, good characters, good story. So those are some of the books that I read in high school and where I would rank them.